Okay, we're back. We're back, and now we're going to take a look at editing in the chart window. This is BTK Daily, that is the biotech index. Note that currently log mode is off. Let's turn it on. You can see a difference when you turn it on and off right there. Now, you can change the color of the background window. This kind of rustish color is good for outdoor viewing. It's easier to see the chart outdoors when there's light on the screen, and the darker colors are nicer indoors. You can use colored bars or lines or candles. When you use candles and you have a high density of bars on the screen, the black and white candles revert to black and white bars. This is the line menu. There's a bunch of different line tools. Plain line. Okay. A fork. Now, line tools have a snap to feature. Right? Open, high, low, close. You can kind of see that. You can snap the line to the top of the bar or the bottom of the bar, okay, or to the open or the close. And with forks, that really makes a difference. There you go. There's the fork. Yeah, all right. So there's also a projection retracement tool, and I'm going to put it right on top of the fork because I'll show you something I like to do with it. Make it blue. I like to use this tool. Now, I like to use this tool to help create more context for the fork. Now note, when the snap to feature is off for this tool, you can change the slope of the tool. Okay, but if the snap to feature is on, then the tool retains its slope, so you can snap it to a particular bar without losing the angle. But right now, what I want to do is line it up with the fork. There we go. And now I'm going to click the middle nub to remove most of these lines. Okay, you can select what's visible on the screen. You can also edit these. You know, by default, these are all fibs, but you don't have to use fibs. And I'll show you that in a second. So I'll just line that up with the top of the fork. Line it up with the bottom of the fork. Okay. Now I can lock that in place. And one thing I like to do is just quarter the fork. So I'm going to make this 0.75. Turn it on, and 0.25, okay, kind of went past it there. Great, now very simple. And to me, that provides extra context for the fork, and I like that. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do a further analysis of this chart. I'm going to turn on something called a CT trend, which is a wonderful trend following tool. And we'll lock that in place. This is kind of like a moving average, except it's a cumulative moving average that requires a manually set anchor point. And what I like to do, you don't have to do it this way, but what I like to do is whenever it uses the line as support, I move it along. So that's kind of an aggressive use. You can see now the support was there, so I move it to the next one. Now it's there, so you move it to the next one. And this is a trend following mechanism. Certainly no guarantee that your trend will continue, but it is a good trend following tool, and you can do it from both tops and bottoms, and then you lock it in place when you got it where you want it to be. All right. Now clearly, if we were doing that here, we would see that it's already used this as resistance, and so we would move it along to the next one. And really, if we were following that logic, we would have to conclude that this is a breakout. So So let's put it here, actually. I'm not telling you to buy the biotech. I'm not telling you to do anything. Remember, you trade at your own risk. Now, let's go back to lines. There's an E-Wave tool. Actually, you know what? Let's go back to this so we can talk about this one more time, because there's something very important that needs to be said about it. Let's get rid of the fork. Okay, let's change that. Just want to get it relatively flat, have it on the screen. Now, you could use this simply to measure a retracement, certainly. All right? So 50% retracement of this rally would be about here. But note that this tool measures screen values. It measures pixels. And because log mode is off, that's correct. That'll actually work for measuring 50% retracement of this rally. But if log mode were on, okay, now the tool still is measuring screen pixels. Okay, but that's no longer going to reflect. Let's go ahead and turn everything off but the 50% retracement. Okay, the 50% retracement is not a 50% price retracement anymore. It has a different meaning. The 50% price retracement, as you may recall, was a little bit higher, all right, because this is now a log chart. And on top of it, we have something that's telling you where the middle point really of the screen is, all right? That's important to understand. Why would you do it? Why would you use it in log mode? Because it's still valid. It just tells you something else, that's all. What you're getting really is a wonderful kind of trending tool. Really, this is talking about now, when the chart's in log mode, what this tool really is showing you is percentage differences. Let me show it to you a different way. If you use the tool merely as a scale, which you can do by turning all the interior lines off, right, and just locking it. Now it's just a scale, and as you move the line over here, it's going to maintain that relative difference and act as a scale. But because we're in log mode, you're not measuring prices. As we move up, the number of points between these two lines is growing, but what you're measuring now is a percentage move. You want to get out of log mode if you want to use this as an accurate measurement of points or prices. Okay, now we're going to take the same measurement. Okay, we're going to lock it. Now it's accurately measuring price movements. Now it'll be the same number of points there and there. All right. So that's a subtle tool. It has a lot of different things that you can do with it, and a lot of flexibility. You also can use it as a projection tool. In this case, 1.618, you can see that. And that measures an actual projection of the space between the two baselines that are defined. Okay, we have an E-Wave tool. Okay, there's my label. Let's put a 1 there. Let's say the 1 is there. I'm not that good at counting waves, honestly. I kind of get it wrong a lot. But the tool is here. You can set labels wherever you want. You can add and remove parentheses, and it'll automatically adjust the color, or you can set the color manually. And finally, we have an annotation tool, which lets you point a line at a place, let's say here, and add a note very simply. Okay, you can tap anywhere to remove that. Now, when you email a chart, as I said before, if somebody taps that, it'll open the chart in their version of Chart Tool. So they're not going to get your chart, but they're going to get an exact copy of it which they can then edit. And the same is true when you tweet a chart. Once you've tweeted the chart, people who read that can tap on it. We'll go ahead and look at that here. People who look at the chart that you tweeted can tap on it and load it. But they're not loading yours, they're loading a copy of it. Of course, if you load your own, you'll be loading your own. These options are only available if you've saved a chart. The other option that's available if you've saved a chart is the note option. It allows you to keep a log of your thoughts for this particular chart. If you add an update, it will add a date line. Okay, so you can do that. If you edit, it'll let you edit the entire contents of the note. So I'm going to backspace over that. Okay. There you go. Now, these are the continuous indicators over here. I've already shown you the this cumulative moving average, the CT trend indicator. You can set an alert on that. And when you do that, you can see that it turns red. You can only use alerts on charts that are saved for obvious reasons. And the way this works is, now this is the euro. This is the ETF for the euro, FXE. And the way this works is that when the euro touches the indicator that the alert is set on, you can set alerts on lines, forks, everything actually. So in this case, when the euro touches the indicator where the alert that has the alert set on it, you will get a notification by email if you set yourself up to that, and we'll do that right here. You do that in the help section. There's a link here that lets you do it. And it'll show up in your alerts. So I have a few alerts visible right here. Okay. You don't have to turn it off ever. You can just leave it on. And it will remain here for a few days, for about a week, or until the market has, or until the stock or market in question has moved away from the line, whichever happens last, actually. So you can have a situation like this where the market just kind of hovers over a line, and in this situation like this, the alert will just sit there in your alerts area until the market finally moves away from it. So it sort of lets you know that this is happening. So you can leave this here. You can leave this here forever. You know, just let it keep telling you. But what I would do actually is, once I get the alert, I would take advantage of that moment to make a few edits to my chart. Now there are 3 moving averages. This one's blue, and you can just see it showed up there. There's also a yellow one and a green one. You can adjust them with the slider over here, and you can use simple or exponential, and you can change the value and change the defaults for each of them. Bollinger Bands also are very editable. They show up in purple, more or less, and you can change the values like that. You'll notice that my Bollinger Bands, you know what, let's grab another chart so we can get a better look at that. Let's just grab a new chart. Okay, we'll go to FXE. This is, what do we want? Weekly? All right, we'll grab it, same thing. Okay. Now we'll turn a Bollinger Band on. Now you'll notice that there are 4 lines on the screen. The way I do Bollinger Bands is you actually get 2 constants, an inner constant and an outer constant. You can make them the same, and then you'd have 2 lines. But if you set them up as I have, you get effective channeling. Like here's a nice channel for a downtrend, and this is kind of a sideways time period. And you get used to seeing how certain behaviors, like this is clearly a consolidation. It's a very familiar pattern. That's not to say that it will always play out in the same way. Of course, you know that. You're a trader. if you alter these values, it can be very difficult to set them as precisely as you want. So there's a picker over here that lets you get precise. And whichever one you use last is the one that the picker assigns itself to. So it's pretty easy to do that. Again, you can use existing defaults, or you can set your defaults yourself. Okay, there's a stochastic tool. It's pretty self-explanatory, and an MACD. All of this works pretty much as you'd expect. Finally, and I think you've already seen this, to change the amount of data on the screen, you can just do that. There you go. Okay. That is part 2 of the chart tool tutorial. If you have any questions, go to help and write to me.